specifically ordained this to happen. It's not true. Or God specifically willed this to happen. It's not true. Not a true statement.
Brother, can I ask you a question, brother, please? Is that all right?
Sure.
So, you based on your statement, you believe that Christians should keep to the Torah. Yeah? You're saying in terms of the law, right?
Yep.
So I'm asking you a real question, yeah? Please be honest.
Sure.
If you believe such thing, let's go to Leviticus 29:13. Sure. Why is it that you're on camera right now with your beard shaped up and the corners of your head?
Leviticus chapter 29.
13.
All right. Leviticus chapter 29. Leviticus, let me make sure I'm not tripping. Yeah, Leviticus doesn't have a 29, brother. Go again.
One second. Let me get the verse for you right now.
Sure.
He's trying to say that the edges of your beard are trimmed.
I just want to go ahead and bring it. It's okay. We'll go over the verse. I just want to get it.
Which they're not, but I get him. I know what he's trying to get at.
Right. They're gonna law check.
Hey, Naz, I'm finna.
God bless you, T.
God bless you too, bro. I see Macca got off. I was for sure finna hit him with that question, but I'll hit him.
Yeah, get him. Get him.
All right, man. Y'all have a blessed one, bro.
All right, man. God bless you, man.
Sorry, it's Leviticus 19:27.
Okay, I was already here. I knew you was going. It says you are not to cut off the hair at the sides of your head or mar the edges of your beard. What does mar mean and what does cut off mean, brother?
Brother, it's exactly what you have right now, bro.
No, brother. What does the word?
You're not supposed to have a shape up, bro.
I'm just asking
No, I'm being serious, cuz.
I got you, brother. I'm responding to you. What does the word mar mean? Mar doesn't mean shape up, brother. Do you know what the word mar means?
Oh my days, bro.
I'm asking you.
Go
brother.
ahead. No, I don't know the word mar. Let's go because I'm reading NKJV.
I got
so this is what I'm saying.
I got you, brother. But we have to know the definition of words, or then we really want to understand what we're reading. All right, that's why it's necessary to understand the definitions of words. That word mar means to destroy, to maim. Right, so you don't destroy, don't make markings into the edges of your beard that destroys your face. It's to mar, it's to maim. So that's what the Bible's telling us not to do there. It's not telling us that you can't shape your beard up. That's not what the word is saying at all. You have to know the definition of words before you're gonna try to law check. You have to understand what.
Brother, you're not making no sense, bro. I'm telling you right, Jews that follow the Torah, they do not shape up their beard, bro.
Jews, certain. So if you talk, I can bring you a Jew right now. His name's, I don't call him this, but he's so-called a rabbi. His name's Rabbi Asher. He shapes up his beard. He'll explain it the same way I just explained it to you right then. Now there are what you call Ashkenazi Jews. Some Ashkenazi Jews, specifically the Haredis, they'll have a kind of different way of interpreting it, and that's fine, right? But that's not from the laws of God, brother. It's from something called Halacha. Do you know what Halacha is?
You talking about that's the Talmud? Is that what you're referring to?
Talmud, the Mishnah Torah, so on and so forth. Yeah. But really just the Mishnah Torah, necessarily the Talmud, right? So if you were to read that Mishnah Torah, that's where they get these rules from. They don't do certain things. It doesn't come from the laws themselves. Like, for example, do you know there are different kinds of Jews, right? You have Sephardi Jews, you have Misrahi Jews, you have Ashkenazi Jews. So you won't meet a Misrahi Jew that has what you're talking about. You're talking about the peyotes, right? In the super long beards. Misrahi Jews don't do this. I can show you a rabbi online right now, a so-called rabbi. His name is Rabbi Misrahi. He'll have pretty much almost a cleanly shaven face. The only rule they'll have is that you can't actually shave it with a razor. That's when it gets to the cutoff part, the round. So you can't take a razor to your beard, will be their argument. But let me show them to you. Hold on, I'll show you what I mean so you can kind of see what I'm saying here.
It literally means to ruin or destroy.
That's what mar means, yeah.
It literally means to ruin or destroy, like when you look at the actual definition of the word. So at the end of the day, brother, you just don't understand the actual definition of the word, which is okay. But now you do. You understand that it means to destroy.
Here's one of the top rabbis in Israel, right? He's the number one rabbi. He's probably the number one rabbi online right now, if we're being honest, right? So when I say rabbi, guys, I'm saying to a Jew, not to me. My only rabbi is Yeshua HaMashiach. That's his picture. You see his beard? The only rule he's going to have is that he can't take a razor to his face, but his beard's almost cleanly shaven. It's as low as he can get it without taking a razor to his face. And to him, that's perfectly lawful because he understands the law is telling you not to mar the edges of your beard. It's not to say you can't trim it. And this is one of the top rabbis in the world right now, so-called.
I like how you said the only rabbi is Yeshua HaMashiach.
That's it. That's
Sir.
my rabbi. I don't have another one, but that's
That's,
there.
Yes,
that's
sir.
our true belief, man. At the end of the day, you know, don't be so hasty to judge your brother, man. Ask before passing judgment, you know.
Right.
So we've read the law, brother, and
Fair
believe me,
point.
if the law had said that I shouldn't cut my beard, I wouldn't cut my beard. The law doesn't say this.
Right.
It says don't mar. Even the word right there to strike off, right, means like when it says don't cut, don't round the ends of your head. It's like to strike off. It means it indicates violence. Don't do violence to the sides of your head. Have you ever seen the Africans? Like you ever seen the Africans who they have like these big bumps on their head and tribal scars all over there?
Yeah.
That's what God is telling the children of Israel not to do, to engage in these types of activities, right? So it's with violence, to do things with violence that causes permanent damage to your head and to your hair and your beard. But you'll see it still exists
Plus,
today. The same tribes, those traditions spread out because they're dealing with Hamites, right? That's Africans with the exception of Negroes. We'll get into that later. But that's like Africans with the exception of the west coast of Africa. You'll see how they do their faces. They mar themselves, literally. To
Plus,
this day.
and it's a cultural thing. You're right. You make a great host because God set us apart. He made us holy. So he said, don't behave like them other nations are behaving. So it was just all to make sure that we were set apart, that we were a holy nation because we served a holy God. So it was to set us apart from everybody else. If everyone else is marring their beards, hey, y'all don't do that. Right. If everyone else is eating swine, hey, y'all don't do that. Hey, if all these people are doing this, hey, y'all don't do that. So that's
So I just want to be clear on the language, yeah, because obviously the language is important, yeah.
Yep.
So when it says you shouldn't cut the corners, yeah, what does that mean?
Means you should not strike with violence to the temples of your head.
the corner is your temple, brother.
Okay, so when it says cut the corners, why not use the word mar in the same? If it was to say cutting corners of your temple, as you're describing it, right?
Here.
Then why would it not use the same word mar then?
I'll show you some of the definitions because it's not exactly the same. It's just close.
Okay. So
here's the word right here, right? So here's the word for cut. Let me go back so I can show you that I'm clicking on the exact word. All right, so it says here round, right? Don't round the corners. Yeah. I'm gonna click on the word here. I'm gonna show you the definition. So it says to strike with violence, to destroy,
or attack. Yeah.
Right. So it is indicative of doing violence, damage to your head, to the corners of your head. That's what it indicates here. Yeah, it's not
primitive root.
Yeah,
to strike.
So even if you look at some of the use cases of the word, right, it kind of, it always kind of deals with war, violence, circumstance, surrounding. It has to do with doing violence to your head.
Okay.
This is definition, right? So we just look at the definition. Now, once again, if the Bible had told me, right, the Bible had told me don't get a trim up and don't cut my beard, I would just not do it. So it's not that big of a deal to me, right? I do much. I mean, we do things that most people say a lot harder than that.
I guess the main reason why
it would save me money. I would, I'd
save $50
a
hear you.
week.
The main reason why. No, listen. Without much knowledge, I'll apologize to you, bro. Openly and say to you, sorry, innit, for even accusing you of that.
You're right.
But in terms of to say, why is it that you believe we must still stick to the law? I guess that's where the bottom line of where I was going. Right.
Because the Messiah did, right? We believe that Jesus Christ is the greatest example that mankind has ever seen. Yeshua of Nazareth is the absolute greatest example for. Sorry, I got a phone call. Guys. Can y'all hear me? TikTok, y'all can hear me? TikTok?
You've gone quiet.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Good. We believe that Jesus the Christ is the greatest example that mankind has ever seen. Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua of Nazareth, is the greatest example mankind has ever seen. We follow him. He followed the laws of God, so we follow the laws of God. What would Jesus do? He would follow the laws of God, so do we. On top of this, God says his laws are forever, right? God says his feast days are forever, and every single feast day points to Christ. God says his Sabbath is forever, Right. So these are the morals and standards of God. I love God so much, I tend to actually obey him. The same as like my mother, right? I'm a grown man. If I go to my if I ride to my mother's house tonight and she says, son, take out the trash. She can't force me to do it. She can't like beat me anymore, take my phone, right? I pay my own bills. She can't do anything to me, to be honest. But out of the respect and admiration I have for my mother, I'm gonna take the trash out. Same thing exists for God. Out of our love and admiration for him, we do what he commanded us to do. It's because we have that much, and we believe that he's perfect. The Bible says the law of God is perfect at converting the soul. We believe the laws of God is perfect. His laws are perfect. So we follow the perfect God. We obey him. And it's because John 10:10, right? The Messiah says he came so we can have life and have it more abundant. That more abundant life is a Torah observant life. The Sabbath day, for example, the seventh day, the number one cause of death for men in America and most of the world, it's not war-torn countries, is heart disease. Heart disease comes from the number one cause of heart disease is stress. Men, they will work 7 days, they'll never take a break. Right? But God gave us that break one day, we can take a rest on the Sabbath. He would have got rid of this problem. Some of us have time taking vacation, spending time with our family. God gave us at least about 4 weeks, if you add everything up, that we should take and spend time with our family.
Swine causes hypertension too.
Swine causes high blood pressure, so on and so forth, right? All these things, every single law of God makes our life better. When the law of God say don't commit fornication, what does fornication bring? Confusion and broken households. God says don't commit adultery, that breaks households apart. The foods we're not supposed to eat, they cause like pork, for example, trichinosis. I mean, it'll put literal worms in your brain. So the rules that God gave us, it may take us a long time to catch up, but they're always for our good. Even when it says don't mix wool and linen, it took science up to about 20, 30 years ago to catch up, but now we understand that wearing wool and linen causes
what happens
sickness.
when they come together?
Right, it causes sickness.
Yeah?
Right, because what wool is meant to make you extremely warm, and linen is meant to make you cool. So when you mix wool and linen, if you wear it in the winter, you're going to be too cold. If you wear it in the summer, you're going to be too hot. Also, it comes down to the frequencies that's within both. Everything within the law of God has a reason and a purpose behind it. It may take us a while to figure it out, but best case scenario, it's kind of like when you're young. I'll give you this last example. I'll let you respond. So when I was young, my mother always said, hey man, son, get up, wash those dishes. And I used to always think, man, I don't feel like, well, I don't want to wash dishes, but I did it because I was young. When I moved into my own house, I said, I'm gonna wash dishes once every 2 weeks. You know what happened? I had a bunch of fruit flies. With them flies come out drain everywhere, all over my house, just nasty, and it stunk in there, right? And so now I realize, oh, I see why Mama told me to wash them dishes. Before I just washed them but now I get why she told me to wash them dishes. Same thing with God's law, but it just takes us a while to get to the point we get it. So best case scenario, same was just best case scenario, listen to your mother. Best case scenario, just listen to God. Do what he says.
So just so I'm clear, right? Because I do, from my understanding, right, that Christ was the last high priest, right?
Christ is the high priest at the order of Melchizedek. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's just say, for example, it was when a sin was committed, you had to go to the altar, right? So what part of the law did that change? Because in terms of you don't need to go and slay a lamb anymore, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you.
So can you help me understand where does that change from a law's perspective? Because that implies that laws can change.
Got you. So in Exodus chapter 24, God makes a covenant with the children of Israel. He signs the covenant, seals the covenant. There's no Levitical priesthood and there's no sacrifices for sin. Those are sacrifices you're referring to, right? The sacrifice upon the specific altar, the sacrifices for sin, the Levitical priesthood, that doesn't exist. Exodus chapter 32 comes. We have the golden calf situation. And at that point, we're under the order of Melchizedek, right? The priests are the firstborn of every family.
I can see a little bit later.
Every single firstborn is a priest to God. They're under the priesthood of Melchizedek priesthood. Exodus chapter 32, the golden calf situation happens. And in Exodus chapter 32, I believe like verse 19, don't quote me, somewhere towards the bottom. God says, today I have taken the Levites as priests unto me. And so that's where we get the Levitical priesthood from. It's only added because of transgression. It's added because of sin. So that's the Messiah comes and returns us back to the order of Melchizedek. Doesn't change God's rules and regulations, but it does change the administration. How do we administrate this? Now we administrate through the order of Melchizedek, not the order of Aaron. So the order of Aaron, it waxes old. It becomes useless because the Messiah told the Apostle Paul tells us what? That those laws, the sacrificial laws, were only added for transgression until the seed would come. Now that the seed is here, we no longer need that order of Aaron. We can operate under the order of Melchizedek, under Christ's high priesthood. It doesn't change Christ's. That doesn't change God's morality. It doesn't change what he wants us to do. It just changes the way that we get to God. The way that we got to God under Aaron was to go to the high priest, bring him a bull or a goat. He goes into the Holy of Holies, and he, intercedes to God on our behalf. Now we simply go to the Messiah. The Apostle
Amen,
Paul
bro.
says, where there is no need for a mediator because God is one. The Messiah can go directly to God. We don't need.
And that law you're talking about, that's the only law that was obsolete now. We're not under Aaron. We're not under the Levitical law because that's what you're saying. Yeah, it's that's the only law that's obsolete. So when people talk about works of law, this and that, we're not under law. No, we're not under that law.
And the Apostle Paul makes that prevalently clear. Even the prophet Jeremiah. Prophet Jeremiah says, on the day that I brought you out of God says to the prophet Jeremiah, on the day that I brought you out of the land of Egypt, I commanded you not concerning sacrifices, but I commanded you to obey. David says the same thing. He says, if you would have wanted sacrifices, I would have gave you sacrifices. But the sacrifices you want is a contrite heart, and a broken spirit you will not despise.
Right.
So even in the law and in the Old Testament, the prophets and the writings, this status was already here.
I believe it's even in Exodus 2. He said, I didn't call you out to do these things. All I wanted you is to believe in and be obedient to me. Have a contrite heart. Yeah.
All right, then, my bro. I would say, listen, you know what? I want to study more on this.
God bless you, man.
Brother, I'll say props to you. Like, generally, I'm going to say you dealt with the confrontation very well. Like, and I didn't even mean to intentionally come like that.
You good.
But I'll say, no, you're doing God's work, bro. I'm going to say that just because, remember, I don't know nothing. Like I'm not, just like when God came out to the skies and told the people of Job and that the three people that was trying to tell him everything. I'm not saying what God thinks of you or nothing. I'm not even trying to apply that. But I'm saying a lot of people on TikTok, they seem to just want to gain respect for themselves, not out of the grace of God in it. Do you get what I'm saying? So no. I humbly follow you, bro. Big man team. So I'm gonna do my research and I'll come back to you, bro.
I appreciate it, brother. Come back.
No, that's all right, bro. Bless.
Wonderful, man.
Bless everyone. Bless.
Yo, brother, I gotta join the Discord after that, man.
Yeah, man, hop in the disco, baby. Hop in the disco.
I'm gonna join after that. I'm gonna join the Discord, man.